Hello, guys. You know, you hear me say from time to time that everything affects everything. And sometimes people don't know what that means. Okay? Let me just give you an example of what it means. Today, when we woke up this morning, when I woke up this morning, the futures was down major. I mean, the Dow was down 600 and something points. The S&P was down 60, 70 points. The NASDAQ was down almost 200 points. I mean, major. And guess what? It wasn't because something happened in the U.S. Now, something did happen in the U.S. earlier this week. We had a bank problem, okay? But then the next day, Tuesday, the market rallied and went back up a little bit. It ain't rallied that much, but it went back up a little bit. And the bank stocks really went back up. So that was good. So, it seemed like all was clear. Everything was good. And then European banks overnight in the US, not overnight over there, European banks had a problem. But this is what I mean by everything affects everything. Even though that bank is way on the other side of the ocean, okay? You're like, what does that have to do with the US? Well, again, everything affects everything, okay? And you notice it especially in the economy and in the stock market. So, when this is my best example of it. I remember years ago, I lived in Dallas area, and Dallas Fort Worth area, and in Fort Worth, GM had a plant there where they built cars. Well, one year they went on strike, okay? And you think, okay, they're on strike, so that's just only gonna affect the people at GM. Well, let me tell you what happened. First of all, it does affect the people at GM because they're out of work, okay? And then it also affects all the GM dealerships around the country, okay? Because now they can't order any cars and they can't get any new cars. But then also, the people that went to work would eat lunch at all of those places around. So now all those places around there, their restaurants are not as full. But hold on, it gets deeper than that. Because this is what really made me realize that everything really does affect everything, okay? GM is a large plant, probably 2, maybe 3,000 workers there, okay? I don't know. But, it ain't just the people that builds the cars. You got the people that clean up the building, all of that. Those people are not there, okay? They all went on strike. So, restaurants, okay, we know about that. But guess what else? The Roach Coach truck, the dry cleaners, the convenience stores, the gas stations in that area, all of that. The furniture stores in that area. People go, when they get off work, sometimes they go pick up a little something from groceries. Or they want to go buy some furniture, or at least look at some furniture, so they go to this furniture store that's over there close by their job. Or the local bar. Sometimes people will stop by and have a little bite to eat or grab a drink before they go home to avoid traffic, okay? The gas station. You want to fill up your car just after you get off of work or sometime during lunch. All of that is affected, okay? Well, you say, well, Robert, that's only them few little people affecting that. Well, here's the other part of that. If those people are affected, the people at the restaurant, the waitresses are not getting tips. Okay, you say, well, what about the people that don't work on tips? Well, guess what? They're not getting customers, so the managers send people home because the restaurant is slow, okay? I used to be a mechanic, so there's a lot of mechanic shops that are probably out there, and people probably take their car to those shops, right, while they're at work. Well, guess what? They're not at work, so their car's not gonna get fixed, period, probably, but it's definitely not in that area because they're not going to work over there. What if they live well the other side of town? And out of 2,000 people, some of them do. Well, I'm just talking about the people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. GM has shops in Detroit and other places that I don't even know about. Well, if it's affecting my area, it's also going to affect those areas. Okay, and then here's another point that we don't even see. When GM is not building cars, then they're not ordering parts to put those cars together. They're not ordering motor oil. They're not ordering gas to put in these cars. They're not, they're not buying plastic. They're not buying fiberglass. They're not buying steel, aluminum. They're not buying tires. So now what happens? You got Firestone, ExxonMobil, plastic company, Procter & Gamble, DuPont, paint. They're not buying paint. Everything affects everything. You get what I'm talking about now? This GM ain't some little bitty puny company. GM is a multi, 30, 40, $50 billion company. Okay? That affects a lot. And guess what? I'm just talking about the US. They also have parts that they're buying from overseas. So those companies, even overseas, they got far-reaching capabilities. Okay? It's gonna affect them as well. Okay? So when you wake up this morning and you see that European banks have caused the European market to go down, and you see the United States market down, you may be wondering, what the hell to do with the US? Well, don't you know that people with banks in the EU, in Europe, have money in the stock market in the US? Okay? And vice versa, people that have money here in the US have money in the stock market in Europe. Okay? Europe ain't some little bitty island. US is major. They're a major player in the world economy. So when I tell you everything affects everything, I really do mean everything affects everything. You may not realize it, but don't be so naive to think that just because you don't realize it, it ain't happening. And I know everybody hated for, the US to come out and bail out these big companies. They always say, like, man, the US is always bailing out these big companies. Well, let me tell you this right quick, guys, so you'll know. They have to bail out these big companies, because if they didn't, it would spiral down and affect you. Okay? If that bank ended up spiraling down, and if they wouldn't have did a backstop, you know how many companies had money that was way over $250,000 that wasn't insured? Well, now they can't make payroll. They can't continue on in business. Well, that's going to, and some of them business people were billion-dollar business. I think Roku, if I'm not mistaken, had money in that bank. Billions. Okay? If they wouldn't protect their deposits, I'm just saying, Roku is huge, okay? And that's just one that I heard about. It could be something people that are waiting. 95% of the assets in this bank would have been non-protected. If you think that wouldn't have reached you in some form or fashion, you're very naive in your thinking. It could have pulled the whole economy down. Okay? So just know that everything affects everything, and we were definitely saved when the government stepped in. Yeah, sometimes you want the rich people to get hurt, just like the poor guy. But hey, sometimes you just can't let that happen, because you got to protect the country. Okay? So anyway, guys, just giving you a little education here. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you can see where I'm going with that, and see that, hey, we can't change it. All we can do is trade it. And when you learn how to trade it, it can be a wonderful thing. And that's why I like, again, being able to trade if the market goes up, if the market goes down, or if the market goes sideways. Okay? And the compound collar guys, you may not want to be a day trader, okay? And I get that. A whole lot of people don't want to be a day trader, but a whole lot of people would love to have some investments, okay? But the thing about investment is you're risking too much. With the compound collar guys, what's so sweet about it is your risk is this much, and long term your potential gain may be this much, okay? So it takes the fear out of investing in the stock market. That's all I can tell you. And the reason why is because you have insurance. You want to know what takes the fear out of having your teenager driving a car? First of all, you get them good training. That's That makes sense. But then second of all, you make sure they don't drive their car without insurance. And that's what we do with the compound collar. We get good training on how to do it. And then the next thing we do is make sure that we don't own a stock without having insurance on it. Doesn't that make sense of why you don't have to worry about it and why you can sleep at night? You have insurance. That's it, guys. That's all I got to say. Till the next time. Oh, let me just say this one more thing. If you want to learn how to trade this compound collar, where you can grow your assets on average easily 25% a year. May not seem like much to some of you guys, but 25% a year, guys, that you can depend on is massive, okay? If you want to learn how to do this, go to slowlifetrading.com. I'm teaching this stuff, guys. It's not rocket science once you know how to do it, but just hearing about it, it sounds too good to be true. Test me. It's not too good to be true. Book a consultation with me, and I can explain it to you. But anyway, guys, until the next time, peace out, and of course, keep it slow.